Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central Television. I am Judith at TB. Here are the top stories, or better yet, here are the headlines that are making rounds beyond the continent. We'll begin with the news in Europe, where a fragile pause in Russian attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure has officially ended, according to the Kremlin, as hopes for a broader ceasefire continue to fade. The Kremlin confirmed Friday that a 30-day moratorium on strikes against Ukraine's energy infrastructure has lapsed, with no new orders issued by President Vladimir Putin. The limited truce brokered by U.S. President Donald Trump last month was marred by repeated violations from both sides. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky claims that Russia never honored the deal and continued targeting critical infrastructure. Russian officials maintain that conditions for a comprehensive ceasefire are not in place despite U.S. and European efforts to restart talks.
Because, as I said, we had an attempt on a limited ceasefire on energy infrastructure, which was not observed by the Ukrainian side. So in these circumstances, to speak about ceasefire is simply unrealistic at this stage. Secondly, given the current situation with the current ceasefire, we doubt that anything else will work. And thirdly, who will be monitoring this ceasefire? These are questions that have no answers.
The United States is signaling a possible shift in its approach to the war in Ukraine. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says a decision must come soon on whether a ceasefire is realistic. Speaking from Paris, Rubio warned that the U.S. could pivot toward other strategic priorities if peace negotiations with Russia are not viable in the coming days. His comments come as European leaders push to stay involved following U.S. President Donald Trump's unexpected decision to initiate peace talks with Moscow without first coordinating with Kyiv or his allies. Russia has so far rejected a full ceasefire. Rubio praised Europe's role in ongoing talks, but hinted Washington may push for sanctions relief if peace gains traction, though most sanctions are controlled by Europe, which recently agreed to increase them instead.
To sort of begin to talk about more specific outlines of what it might take to end the war, to try to figure out very soon, and I'm talking about a matter of days, not a matter of weeks, whether or not this is the war that can be ended. If it can, we're prepared to do whatever we can to facilitate that and make sure that it happens, that it ends in a durable and just way. If it's not possible, if we're so far apart that this is not going to happen, then I think the president's probably at a point where he's going to say, well, we're done. You know, we'll do what we can on the margins. We'll be ready to help whenever you're ready to have peace. But we're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in. If it's not, then
a Russian missile strike has targeted Ukrainians' city of Kharkiv early on Friday, April 18th, killing one person and leaving dozens injured, according to officials. The attack damaged residential buildings, a school, and a business. Mayor Ihor Tarhov, he reported significant damage to 15 apartment buildings, with residents describing the scenes as chaos and destruction. The strike was reportedly carried out by ballistic missiles with cluster munitions, hence the extensive destruction. Emergency crews, including climbers, psychologists, and canine units, are working to clear rubble and assist victims in the affected residential area. Let's also tell you that China has denied supplying lethal weapons to any party in the Ukraine war following President Volodymyr Zelensky's claim that Beijing has been arming Russia. The Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ling Zhang has he stated that China has never provided lethal weapons and strictly controls dual-use items. He reaffirms that China's stance on the conflict remains consistent and clear, emphasizing efforts to support ceasefire and peace talks. Zelensky has not elaborated on his claim, but has said Kyiv is ready to discuss the matter further. He also alleged the presence of at least 155 Chinese nationals assisting Moscow, including 2 reportedly captured by Ukrainian forces in Donetsk. Now, Beijing has denied, or rather has continued to portray itself as a neutral actor, despite Western accusations of aiding Russia through economic and diplomatic channels.
在此重申，征收港口费、对货物的装卸设备加征关税等措施损人害己，既推高了全球的海运成本，扰乱了全球产供链的稳定，也会增加美国国内的通胀压力，损害美国消费者和企业的利益，最终也无法振兴美国的造船业。
Union leaders spoke out Friday after meeting with officials at Marcy, to discuss the potential fallout from rising American customs duties. CGT General Secretary Sophie Binet, she urged the government to give priority to Made in France to protect local jobs and industries. Meanwhile, CFDT's Marilys Lyon expressed concern over what she called opportunistic effects, warning that some companies, may use the situation to justify restructuring and layoffs. The meeting comes amid growing fears that increased U.S. tariffs could put pressure on French manufacturers and lead to job losses. Both unions are calling for swift action to safeguard employment and ensure companies don't exploit the economic climate to downsize.
Et les moyens d'obtenir le Made in France et de faire primer le Made in France, ça veut dire revoir la loi Florange pour nous permettre de trouver systématiquement des repreneurs quand il y a des plans de licenciement. Ça veut dire mettre en place un index du Made in France au niveau des entreprises pour que dans les politiques d'achat des entreprises, les forcer à jouer le jeu des circuits courts et du Made in France. Ça veut dire revoir aussi les marchés publics pour faire primer le Made in France. Rien de neuf sous le soleil. De toute manière, Bernard Arnault, depuis le début, on a bien compris qu'il n'en a rien à faire de l'intérêt de la France, de l'intérêt des Françaises et des Français et des salariés, et que son seul objectif, c'est de maximiser son profit. Je trouve que c'est scandaleux et que Bernard Arnault devrait au contraire utiliser les leviers qui sont à sa disposition pour amplifier le rapport de force de la France et de l'Europe dans ces négociations. Par exemple, si LVMH dit qu'ils suspendent tous leurs investissements aux États-Unis, évidemment que ça, c'est un point d'appui. Et donc
ça a été aussi l'occasion de pouvoir nous dire qu'est-ce qui est important, et pour la CFDT, il faut organiser une réponse coordonnée européenne, il faut des droits de douane ciblés, il faut mettre des règles sur l'accès des entreprises américaines aux marchés nationaux et européens, et puis il faut avoir un suivi étroit de la façon dont ça peut avoir un impact sur les entreprises.
You're welcome back. A Slovenian court has acquitted former Prime Minister Janez Janša of corruption and abuse of office charges. The ruling, delivered Friday in the town of Celje, clears the former minister, or the former leader, and 2 others over a controversial 2005 property deal during his first term as Prime Minister. Now, the leader, now 66, and leader of the opposition Slovenian Democratic Party, SDS, had called the case a politically motivated attempt to sideline him ahead of the 2026 general election. Prosecutors had sought a 2-year prison sentence. Now, speaking to supporters outside the court, the former Prime Minister labeled the case a farce and vowed to continue fighting what he described as judicial biases. Hundreds of his supporters or backers rallied in support, waving flags and accusing the judiciary of corruption. The former Prime Minister previously served jail time in 2013 for a separate bribery case. 2 men on their way to help with rescue efforts have been found dead on Friday after a spring storm drenched parts of northern Italy and dumped more than a meter of snow in other areas across the Alps, shortening ski areas, halting transport, and killing at least 1 other person. The storm shut roads, halted trains, and cut power to areas in France, Italy, and Switzerland. Although snow in April is not rare in the Alps mountain range, the amount that fell in just hours was unusual and took authorities and residents by surprise. The bodies of a 64-year-old man and his 33-year-old son were found near Vicenza in the Venetia region, bringing the death toll in the country to just 3. Very sad indeed. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, tensions remain high ahead of renewed nuclear talks between Iran and the United States as Tehran expresses skepticism over Washington's intentions. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has speaking from Moscow, by the way, confirmed Tehran's participation in U.S.-mediated talks set for Saturday in Rome. While casting doubt on U.S. motives, he said Iran remains open to a peaceful resolution regarding its nuclear program. The upcoming session follows last week's high-level contact, the most significant since the U.S. withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal under President Trump. Tehran continues to reject Western concerns over uranium enrichment and missile capabilities, calling them non-negotiables. Now, talks are being mediated by Oman as both sides weigh the potential for renewed diplomatic progress.
جدی نسبت به نیات و انگیزه های طرف آمریکایی داریم، ولی به هر حال ما در مذاکرات فردا با جدیت، جمهوری اسلامی ایران با جدیت و با اراده کامل شرکت میکنه. ما برای یک راه حل صلح‌آمیز برای برنامه هسته‌ای صلح‌آمیز ایران کاملا آمادگی داریم. اگر اراده مشابه در طرف مقابل وجود داشته باشه و درخواست‌های غیر منطقی و غیر واقعی نداشته باشند، به نظر من رسیدن به یک توافق محتمل.
Let's also tell you that thousands of Houthi supporters have gathered in Yemen's capital, Sana'a, to protest against U.S. airstrikes and express solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. The protest comes after the recent U.S. strikes on a Yemeni fuel port, which killed at least 74 people. The rally was held after Friday's prayers featured demonstrators waving Palestinian and Yemeni flags and chanting anti-American slogans such as "Death to America, Death to Israel." The protests coincide with heightened tensions in the Red Sea, where the Houthis have previously targeted vessels linked to Israel and the U.S.
في جريمة استهداف راس عيسى ضربوا المدنيين السواقين. ايش ذنب المدنيين السواقين؟ يعني هم ما بيضربوا الا المدنيين، بيوت المواطنين، المدنيين سواقين القاطرات. استهداف ميناء راس عيسى سيقابلها تصعيد بالتصعيد، ولن تدينا ولن نتراجع ولن يحقق الامريكي ما يريده منا.
The U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, accompanied by his wife Usha and their 3 children, attended the Good Friday service at the St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City. The family participated in the solemn observance ahead of Easter. The visit follows Vance's recent diplomatic engagements, which includes meetings with Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni in Rome, where discussions centered on strengthening U.S.-Italy relations and addressing trade matters. Now, Meloni had previously met with President Donald Trump in Washington to negotiate a favorable tariffs deal. Now to North America, where a U.S. judge has denied Sean Diddy Combs' request to delay his upcoming sex trafficking trial. The ruling came Friday from District Judge Arun Subramanian, who said the motion was filed too close to the trial date. The jury selection is set for May 5th, while with opening statements expected May 12th. Combs, 55, faces 5 criminal charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking. Prosecutors allege he used his business empire to abuse women over a 20-year span. Combs has pleaded not guilty, and his legal team argues all sexual activity was consensual. His attorney, Mark Agini-Filo, had just asked for more time to prepare for charges added earlier this month. and to review emails tied to an alleged victim. Prosecutors opposed the delay, saying the new charges reflect previously known conduct. Well, good luck to him. Now, 2 men were killed in a mass shooting at a university in Florida, allegedly carried out by the son of a local deputy sheriff with an own service weapon, an old service weapon. Now, this is according to the police in the southeastern U.S. state on Thursday. Now, 5 people were wounded when the gunman, identified as Phoenix Itna, rampaged through Florida State University, shooting at students before he was shot by local law enforcement. In a statement by Chief Lawrence Raville of the Tallahassee Police Department, a 6th person was hurt through trying to run away from the shooting. And now to South America, where a wave of violence has struck southwestern Colombia, where twin bombings have left communities reeling and authorities on high alert. In La Plata, located in Hula department, a motorcycle bomb detonated near a police station, killing 2 people and injuring at least 24. Flames and debris were seen engulfing the area shortly after the blast. Colombian officials are blaming dissident factions of the former FARC rebel group, which withdrew from a 2016 peace accord. The La Plata bombing came just hours after another deadly explosion targeted a police station in Santaga de Quelchua in the neighboring Caca department. Now, security forces are now on heightened alert as investigators link the attacks to escalating activity by armed groups opposed to the peace process.
Registró la activación de un artefacto explosivo acondicionado en una motocicleta frente a un hotel en inmediaciones de la estación de policía del municipio de La Plata. En este hecho resultaron inicialmente 2 personas asesinadas y preliminarmente 24 lesionadas, quienes fueron trasladados a centros asistenciales para recibir atención médica.
Holger Rune knocked out defending champion Casper Ruud with a 6-4, 6-2 victory in the Barcelona Open quarterfinals on Friday. The Danish world number 13 broke Ruud twice in each set, securing just his 2nd win in 8 meetings with the Norwegian. Rune now advances to face Russia's Karen Khachanov, who defeated Alejandro Davanovic Fokani 6-4, 7-5 in the semi-finals. Bit more sports here. Barcelona's coach Hansi Flick has criticized La Liga for a rescheduling decision he called a joke, demanding a meeting with officials. Barca's league clash with Real Valladolid was moved to 9 p.m. on Saturday, May 3rd, less than 72 hours before the Champions League semi-final 2nd leg against Inter Milan on May 6th. Flick expressed frustration over the tight turnaround, accusing La Liga of neglecting player welfare. The German coach compared the situation favorably with other leagues like Bundesliga and Premier League, which he said protect clubs in European Championship. Barcelona chases silverware on 3 fronts as well, face added pressure as they also aim to extend their La Liga lead over Real Madrid.
I don't want to make excuses about this or complaining about that, but it happened here. I never had this before. I never, every league protect their clubs when they play. When they play in the Champions League, especially in the semi-final, it's unbelievable, and we have no time to rest. And for me, it's the guys who are responsible for that. I want to discuss with them because they have no idea. They have no idea how it is. And my team, of course, maybe we don't play so good in Dortmund, but.
Sincerest apologies for that earlier, but that's all we can take from beyond the continent. Now to remember, they can always send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422 Star Times, channel 274 Avo TV, or just better yet, stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith at TV. Good night.